intersection of technology and healthcare professionals on the one hand or patients on the other. So there are two kinds of medication. Medical device regulation is a little bit less strict. We can talk about the disease and the treatment options. And we can check whether it was a healthcare professional who opted in. In most of the countries, they have a registration number of them being a healthcare professional. Organic traffic is not so important because a lot of the branded content is behind the gate. Increased both patient education and healthcare professional engagement, leading to improved treatment awareness and choosing the right content so that you help them start having that conversation together. In each step after it, we went deeper into the topic. Predictive analytics will help us to anticipate patient needs and offer proactive solutions.
Welcome to today's episode. We are exploring healthcare marketing strategies with Jesse Goss, founder of Medical Digitals. Welcome, Jesse.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, Jesse, thanks for coming on. To kick things off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in marketing?
Well, I've always been fascinated by the intersection of technology and healthcare. And early in my career, I saw a gap in how life science and health organizations connected with their audience online. And that's what led me to establish Medical Digitals, to use cutting-edge digital strategies to bridge the gap and make healthcare more accessible and engaging.
Okay, awesome. Right, well, let's start with some strategy then. Can you begin and talk to us a little bit about content for the healthcare space? Maybe walk us through developing a conversion-focused content strategy and how you would approach that.
Well, we make strong division in two audiences that we target for our clients, and that's healthcare professionals on the one hand or patients on the other. And those are often the two target groups to target because our clients are most of the time medical device companies or pharma companies, and they're not per se selling the product to the doctor, but the doctor is using the product or prescribing the medication. So when we talk about healthcare professionals and development of a strategy, and part of that can be a content strategy, we can first start with researching the audience. And we can do that by having one-on-one interviews with healthcare professionals and understanding their needs, their pain points, the kind of information that they're looking for to be able to find the right treatments. And based on such a research, we can do the analysis of the information we gathered and start developing a digital marketing strategy. And in that strategy, we have different elements in there. So one of those elements is the persona of an healthcare professional, the customer journey, and then also the content strategy that describes those pain points or that information that we found in the interviews that is interesting to them, so that we have, for example, a lead magnet with information that the people that we target also want to download, for example. Does it answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, so to keep going on that, how important is organic? When we're talking about the content strategy, are we talking about organic traffic? And then if we look at pharmaceutical companies and medical equipment companies, are they typically targeting the end user or are they targeting the doctors and the medical facilities?
Yeah, so there are two kinds of medication. We call it over-the-counter medicines, the products that we can buy at the supermarket or at a pharmacy without a prescription of the doctor. And there is the medication that needs to be prescribed by your general practitioner or the medication that is being used by the doctor in the hospital. And that second one, so the general practitioner prescribing your product or your medication or the specialist in the hospital using its medication, we call that prescription medication. So we have over-the-counter and prescription medication. And when it comes to over-the-counter products, then the rules for promotion are different, the legislation, and so it's different than promoting prescription medication. Mm-hmm. So you can do more promotion for those over-the-counter products than the prescription medication. And when we talk about the promotion of the products for the healthcare professionals, so the prescription medication, then we are really limited in what we are allowed to do. So we can only talk about the product if we know that we are only talking to a healthcare professional, specifically within the European Union, where we have a general directive on the promotion of medication. And the same goes for medical devices, while medical device regulation is a little bit less strict. But still, there are comparable rules for it.
So would this be for prescription devices or drugs? Does this mean you can only do factual, informational content with regards to these? And what sort of content would you produce, and what part of the funnel would you be looking to target?
Yeah, so if it's top of the funnel and we're running ads, so when we run ads, for example, on LinkedIn, then we cannot only when we have a target list of the healthcare professionals that will see the ads. And so it's based on the settings in your ad campaign, then you can show promoted information. But if you're not 100% sure if it's only the healthcare professional that you're targeting, then we can never show product information. And then we can talk about the disease and the treatment options. And so then that's what we call a disease awareness campaign. And you can create the interest of the healthcare professional by talking on the topic while we're not yet talking about their product of our client. And then the goal is that they will give their opt-in, and we can check whether it was a healthcare professional who opted in, and then we can start sending out the information that is branded.
So for everyone who opts in, you have to go and check for legal reasons to make sure that they are a healthcare provider before you push them into your funnel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are also multiple ways of doing this. So you can have a manual check. You can also ask people. In most of the countries, they have a number, like a registration number of them being a healthcare professional. And we can have them log in or give their information in combination with that number. And then it's automatically a check that they are, in fact, a healthcare professional. But this is also a step that they should take in that case. And so we're asking that information, and then they also know after I give this information, then I will be targeted with ads. So we're not always asking it, but in that case, we need to check it.
Okay, so what happens next after they opt in? I presume we're talking about an email funnel, and what's the structure like for an email funnel for this category?
Yeah, so, we already have the lead now. So normally we have an awareness phase and a lead generation phase where we do retargeting on the awareness phase. And indeed, often the third step is then the lead nurturing phase. That email nurturing flow can be a simple one, and that we just continue to send out emails for a period of time so that we move them through a funnel. We sometimes develop email flows that are more complicated. That what if someone just opens and not clicks, then his next email will be this one. And if he did click, then we will send him the next step in the flow. Yeah, it depends a little bit on the situation, how complicated these email flows are.
Okay, and what does the lead distribution look like across the channels? So organic, SEO, paid ads, where would the majority of leads come from? Where's the core focus?
Mm-hmm. For healthcare professionals, the core focus would be LinkedIn. And the second channel is Facebook, but that also varies per region in the world. So we use more Facebook in the United States, and over the last couple of years, we have been using more and more meta retargeting within Europe as well in an effective way. But often the first channel to use specifically in Europe would be LinkedIn. In the US, also the awareness campaign can already be in Facebook.
Okay. So what about organic traffic then from Google? Is this a big focus for this industry?
A lot of the branded content is behind a gate because only the healthcare professional can see that information. Mm-hmm. And the information behind the gate is not indexed by Google. But what we do more and more is create pages before the login, that do show information about the topic, like the disease awareness kind of information again, but not yet talk about the product. So it's limited what we're able to, but we do it actually for two reasons. The one reason is indeed to get indexed by Google and to get more traffic. And also on the other hand, to inform a healthcare professional before he logs in and, for example, give his registration number. Mm-hmm. And to show him what he can expect and give him a good feeling.
So if I understand this, the content you create that deals with the product, mentions the product, that's always going to be gated if we're talking about prescription medications. And then the content that you're creating that is driving awareness from organic traffic, this is going to talk about the symptoms and just not mention the product. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And then would you have an opt-in then in order for the healthcare professionals to access that gated community on that disease awareness content?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the content that we're trying to rank. I think that the gated content, that's going to be pretty obvious. You're describing the problem. You can really just write for your user, which is usually not the case with Google, where you're just writing for that person and not worrying about search engines. So that part I think is pretty straightforward. The content that you're creating that is aimed at ranking and bringing in new traffic from Google. This is a space that has had a lot of changes in Google over the past several updates. I'm curious how important you feel EAT is in this space. Obviously, they're going to have the expertise to talk about it, but as far as like displaying that on the site, on the post, how important do you think EAT is for creating this kind of content?
We don't do this a lot. Maybe this is not the best topic to discuss. And this has to do with the fact that the organic traffic is not so important because a lot of the branded content is behind the gate.
Okay. Makes sense.
Can you tell us a little bit about omnichannel marketing then? How do you develop an omnichannel strategy for healthcare clients? And can you give an example of like successful campaigns and how that's worked?
Yes, we begin with the patient or the healthcare professional journey to ensure we have a seamless experience across the channels, whether it's social media, email, or websites. It's all about delivering the right message at the same time. And as an example, successful omnichannel campaign, we ran an omnichannel campaign for a pharma client in diabetes care. And we integrated social media, targeted ads, and email marketing, and it increased both the patient education and healthcare professional engagement, leading to improved treatment awareness. It's not always the case, by the way, that we always target both the audiences. But the example that I'm now talking about is that we targeted both of the audiences at the same time with kind of a similar campaign, but then one campaign more in depth. So it was really information a healthcare professional would consume, and for the patient it was something that he could understand and speak about with his doctor.
Oh, interesting. I'm actually type 1 diabetic. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what the product was?
It was type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
But I can elaborate more on diabetes. It's actually a topic that we work a lot in the diabetes sector. If you want, I can maybe discuss some clients there.
Well, I mean, it's a fast-moving space. As a type 1, with the technology changes, it's hard to keep up. I'm bombarded with information. Yeah, I think omnichannel is definitely the way to go especially when you're looking to reach patients.
Yeah, talking about patients, let's talk about patient engagement. What strategies have you found effective for increasing patient engagement?
Okay, personalization is key. Mm-hmm. And from tailored email campaigns to interactive tools, it's about delivering the relevant, timely information that empowers patients in their health journey. But your question was, how do we do this? How do we run patient engagement campaigns? So we make use of social media a lot with patient engagement campaigns. Social media channels are the best channels to create the awareness. We're not per se generating patient leads for these kind of clients, and therefore patient engagement takes place in these Facebook communities. Often the communities that we make use of are open communities in, for example, Instagram or Facebook, where we explain with the title of the open community what the community is about. At the beginning, we use advertising to get the followers, but we also make use of influencer marketing, for example, where people with, for example, diabetes, but known people share it on their profiles that they take part in this campaign or share information about it. And at a certain stage, we have a lot of followers there. And the good thing about these kind of communities, patient communities, is that if you ask a question there, or if you are posting content there are a lot of replies under these posts from people with questions, but also others in the community, they answer the questions. Mm-hmm. So we don't even have to do the community management all the time. They help each other. And the engagement in this way automatically is really high, and that depends on choosing the right content so that you help them start having that conversation together.
I think that engagement is probably really impactful for the amount of exposure you get on that. Like, all platforms really reward engagement. One thing you said that I thought was really interesting was about using influencers in this space, and I would not have expected to hear that. Are you specifically talking about over the counter? Because I would assume there's less you could do with prescription medications. And then could you just maybe dive into how it works with influencer marketing in this space more?
And maybe I can give an example. We used to work for a pharmaceutical company called Boehringer Ingelheim. It's a German pharma company, with affiliates all around the world selling its products. And they have a treatment for diabetes for people that have a combination with problems with the heart. By the way, so your question was actually that you could imagine it that it was with over-the-counter products, but it does not have to be that way. If the product of the client has a large market share, then you will always get that bigger part of the market when there is promotion around the disease. So in this situation, it was a prescription medication for people with diabetes in combination with problems with the heart. So we looked around, in this case, it was a European campaign. It was all around Europe, and we looked in each European country for people with diabetes, type 1 or 2, that were known for because they were a famous athlete or a famous television chef who wrote a book about diabetes, or it did not necessarily have to be someone with diabetes, but at least on the topic of diabetes. And we found them in all those countries. 1 or 2 people with a really large follower base, a lot of influence. And we asked them to share the information about our campaign. And our campaign was not about the product of the client, but it was about diabetes in the first flow of the top of the customer journey, so to say. And each step after it, we went deeper into the topic. So first was about diabetes and other complications. And then it was specifically about the complication with the heart in combination with diabetes. And it ended with patient stories. But it wasn't about the product. It was just about the disease, diabetes in combination with the heart.
Then how do you successfully tie in the product at that point? I see how they could easily get lots of attention talking about those topics, especially if they're well known. But then how do you actually tie in the product?
So we didn't talk about the product in that specific campaign, and because it's a prescription medication, we can never talk about the product with a patient. But because our client had a really large market share in the treatment of diabetes in combination with heart problems, that if we would make someone aware of having that combination of the heart problem and the diabetes, he will go to his doctor and he would automatically get the product of our client.
So this is essentially an awareness campaign via influencer, and then in order to it's interesting. As a type 1 diabetic, the algorithm obviously shows me a lot of diabetes influencers because I'm searching for the latest and greatest in tech and whatnot. I'm intrigued to ask how legal jurisdiction can affect these sorts of campaigns. In the UK, I wear something called the Dexcom device, which is prescription, but I know in other parts of the world that these can be independently purchased without prescription. And in fact, I think even in this country, you can get them on prescription or not. So does that allow you to run certain campaigns with certain influencers in certain jurisdictions, and that can have a positive impact globally?
Yes, we don't work for Dexcom. We do work for Abbott for the Freestyle Libre.
Yeah, that was my previous device.
And indeed, for example, in a country as the Netherlands, where I'm based, there you can buy it. Libre 2, it's the sensor that measures the sugar levels in your blood. And because you can buy it, we can also promote it, or we can talk about it. That has an effect, of course, on the choices you make in your digital marketing strategy, the channels that you choose, and the way you choose to communicate. But what was your question again?
If that affects in jurisdictions where, for example, there's different rules for the same product. So there may be one country where it's prescription only, and other areas where it can be purchased. Yeah.
Well, we often see that big difference between the US and Europe, but it can even be within Europe that there is a difference between countries, and that we have to take that into consideration when developing a strategy. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Okay, as we come to the end of our time, I wanted to ask about what you think will play out over the next few years. We've had a lot of changes in the last year or two with Google, obviously AI rolling out. So a lot of changes in the marketing space. What do you see happening specifically in the healthcare marketing space?
AI and also the machine learning, they are going to revolutionize the personalization in healthcare marketing. And also predictive analytics will help us to anticipate patient needs and offer proactive solutions. And if you're asking how AI is impacting healthcare, for example, for SEO and marketing strategies, then it allows for more precise targeting, and it also allows for better content, content optimization, faster insights into the user behavior, and it also helps to create more personalized, timely content, and also making SEO more dynamic and more relevant, I think.
I think it's interesting as well that obviously we're seeing a huge shift in personalized medicine, and if AI can help with personalized targeting, then marrying personalized targeting with personalized medicine is going to be probably, the way of the future, and quite helpful for everyone involved in that process.
Definitely, and I think so too.
Yeah. Exciting times. Well, I'll have to speak to you privately off camera, and you can give me some advice on the latest diabetes gadgets to get my hands on.
Yes.
Okay, Jesse, it's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much. Where can people find you if they want to hunt you down?
Yeah, well, you can find me in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, in our office, Amsterdam South. And you can find me online. I'm on LinkedIn. Jesse Gosse is my name. Well, do you want me to mention my email address? Or
you can do.
Yeah, it's jesse.gosse, Gosse, at medicaldigitals.com. Of course, you can visit our website, medicaldigitals.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Jesse.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.